What could your life look like in a changing real estate market? Our guest today is going to give you a glimpse. Stay tuned. Welcome to this week's edition of NoteSchool TV, when every week we bring you the most amazing guest and the most amazing content in the note industry. We thank you for tuning in today. So before we get started, let's talk about, I'm going to ask you three favors. Number one, like what you see, right? If you just hit that like button, that would make Eddie and I very, very happy. Number two, subscribe. If you have not already subscribed to NoteSchool TV, make sure and go ahead and do that. And number three, go ahead and hit that bell notification. Yep, go ahead if you have not already done so and hit it now, right? Bing, right? Hit that notification. And guys, please keep those comments and questions coming. We love to hear from you, your comments about what the show meant to you, what you gleaned from the show, the high points, the guests, all of that. Means a lot to Eddie and I as we continue to move forward with NoteSchool TV. So please keep those coming. And if you would like more information about what we do at NoteSchool, simply go to noteschool.com/TV. Again, noteschool.com/TV. And just keep, would love to send you some information, talk to you, whatever we need to do to get you going. And remember, at NoteSchool, our motto is, we will show you how to close more deals. Show you how to close more deals. And with that, let's go to this week's news. So in the news today, we have a new study that was reported actually on DS News. And new study shows that the majority of the U.S. market favor sellers. So we hear that prices are falling and so on, and in some markets. And interestingly enough, this is according to the NOC buyer-seller market index. And NOC is a collaboration between the Multiple Listing Service and our friends over at Atom Data Solutions. And here's what this says, right? It says year over year, a pen going here, home sales are down 38%. Now, we have a lot of folks that are taking their house off the market right now simply because, well, if they were to sell it, even if they got a great price for it, then it would cost them more than twice of what it would have cost them to finance it a year ago. So inventory is ticked up to about 5.5%. Days on market increased about 50%. Now, I'm laughing when I say that, because literally in most markets, it went from like 7 days to 18 days, right? And then here's what I thought was interesting. 71 of the top 100 largest housing markets in the U.S. all still remain sellers markets. So 3/4 of the markets remain sellers markets. So we'll see how this continues to play out. And then number two, according to the Inside Mortgage Finance, ARM, adjustable rate mortgage share, breaks through the 12% threshold. So an estimated $80 billion of adjustable rate mortgages were produced in the second quarter, which is 27% more than the first quarter of this year. And I was just checking before the show. So if we're looking at 30-year fixed rate, they're tapping right there at 6.85 to little over 7%. And adjustable rates, the 5/1 ARM, Guys, it ticked over 5% this week at 5.28%. So in order to kind of curb affordability, or in order to make the home buyer's decision more affordable, people are going with the ARM, which, by the way, has gone up about 0.5 point in the last week. So, guys, that's what's going on in the news today. A lot happening in the business, as you're going to hear from Eddie and our guests today. So with that, I want to bring on our esteemed leader, our chief visionary officer, all around good guy, my friend, Mr. Eddie Speed.
Good morning.
Good morning. So what do you think about those adjustable rate loans, man?
Well, you know, I think a lot of people are surprised that adjustables are even they're less than 15% of the loans being originated now. But Joe, since Dodd-Frank, you have to qualify for a far higher rate.
Yes, you do.
Than the rate you're getting.
That's right.
And so adjustables are not a solution for people that can't qualify.
That's right.
Adjustables are just a solution for people that want to take the market risk. Mm-hmm. And say that I think I'm better off to get a 1-year rate and play the risk of what's going to happen in a year. Yeah. But as far as it easing qualification standards, that's not like it used to be.
Yeah.
The old teaser rate mortgage where you only had to qualify for the beginning rate, that's not the market condition anymore. So that's I think why you don't see more. I mean, I don't think they'll ever dominate. No. I don't feel like they will. People, the people that are not putting their house on the market, right? The houses that are not getting listed are one of the things that we've talked about forever. People have low mortgage rates and they don't want to go step into a 7% market, and a 7% market, Joe, that seems to be going this way.
Yeah, it's a little sporty, and that's what's happened. We've seen that happen over the last month or so. You know, talking about inventory going up, but it's just a lot of people who had put their house on the market saying, "Hey, if I can get X for it, then I'll go ahead and do it." But now that rates have doubled this year, more than doubled, people are saying, "Well, that's probably not such a great idea." So, and I thought it was interesting that 71 of the top 100 markets. Are still favoring sellers.
Yeah, we are in a changing market. You know, we've been seeing this and making reference to this for quite a while, and nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. I think the consensus is more and more that we're headed for a fairly good market swing. So I think that's the case. So
yes.
Thank you for that, Joe.
Yes, sir.
I got a great guest today, and I think a lot of people will be interested in a transition that she made a while ago. And but a lot of people are considering that transition at the moment to kind of jump over into this side of the fence for the obvious reasons of the market. And so we'll have a fun time with that.
Yes.
All right. Our guest today is from Houston, Texas. She is she came from corporate America, but she was definitely a landlord that spent a lot of weekends working on rentals in some prior years. And so I say she earned her stripes to be able to position herself with some freedom. So you guys welcome from Houston, Texas, Miss Lois Meyer.
Hi, guys. How are you today?
How are you?
Doing great.
You. So bright and orange today. Man, you look great.
Thank you.
Well, you guys really impressed Joe and I and our whole team so much in the fact that you made a decision in coming into Note School. It was pretty specifically driven around lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, like, before coming to Note School, like what was it that caused you to become interested?
So basically, we had set up a model where we were buying up really distressed properties and fixing them, most of it ourselves, and then moving people in as rentals. And we were smart enough to know that you don't necessarily make all your money on the rental portion, but until we really put the, pencil to paper, we didn't realize how bad it really was. So we accumulated all these houses and properties. And so we had about 19 or so. And I'm 67 and I've been retired for a couple of years now. And literally I was working nights and weekends, just getting the houses fixed up, taking care of the repairs and things. And we knew it wasn't sustainable. Yeah. And our passion is travel. And when you travel out of the country for, 2 or 3 weeks at a time, well, then you have to have people set up to take care of the properties, because as soon as you leave town, things fall apart. I mean, it's just the rule. Yeah. And so we knew that we couldn't keep rentals and that market going, as well as do the traveling and stop doing all the heavy work, because we did a lot of construction ourselves.
It's priorities, right, Lois?
Yes, very much so.
I'm going to drop off here and let you and Eddie talk for a few minutes. I'll see you guys in a few. Okay.
See you, Joe. I think a lot of people, fit into what you and Cindy's categories were. I mean, and rental properties will be good to you. I mean,
yes.
Right now, if you're buying rentals, you probably better have a strategy where you can get affordable financing.
Yes.
Right. And affordable financing may not be the seller carrying 100% of the financing, but it's probably the seller carrying some of the financing. Now, that wasn't the case when you were buying back then, because first of all, you were buying in a much lower price market.
We paid cash for almost everything, including the repairs. And part of it was because, we couldn't get financing from the banks. They would look at the property and they'd go, wow, that doesn't work for us. And so we put all of our cash in it. And then we decided, it kind of coincided with the upturn in the real estate market. We decided that, we were going to join NoteSchool. We got involved in this and it just took off. And so we sold the majority of our rental properties. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 doors now, and that's it.
So life before NoteSchool was dealing pretty heavily with a lot of rentals, repairs.
Yes.
I would say grinding.
Very much so. We would start Saturday morning we'd be packing up the van at 7 o'clock, and we might get home at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that while I appreciate your discipline, you guys willing to work so hard, at some point, that's not the joy in life you were looking for, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
So life since NoteSchool has been a lot more about repositioning how you did it.
Absolutely. And so we, as you know, Eddie, we really looked at NoteSchool first. We really researched it. Our nephew had us meet a person who was in NoteSchool, a Titanium member. Mm-hmm. And we met the first time with him, and he was like, he went through all the information all at once. And we left going, I have no idea what he said, but it sounds like we should look into it. So we bought a note from him because we wanted to see, does the money really come in? Yeah. And it did. And we didn't have to fix anything or do anything. I'm like, this looks good. So we looked and we were on, we went to several 3-day classes, and then we started the virtual ones. And so we joined NoteSchool, I think February, March, as COVID started.
Yeah.
And we started buying notes. I mean, groups of them. I think our first purchase was 5 notes. And we felt like we could do it, not because we knew how to do it, but that we knew enough, and we knew that you guys were behind us. And so, your team is great, because I call up and I say, okay, I know that I should know this, but I don't know this. And Anyway, but it's fun too.
It is fun.
It's so interesting because in the last several years, we've been in now, 3.5 years. It is just crazy different. And that's what we appreciate about you keeping us up to speed on what's going on.
If I looked around, NoteSchool primarily has been over the past, call it 20 years, is kind of a home for frustrated landlords.
Yes.
Right. A way to be the bank, a way to get, grow wealth without having to have the commitment of the rental properties. Mm-hmm. Obviously today, and we'll talk about this after the break a little bit, but obviously today you're seeing a lot of real estate investors come into NoteSchool, more than you've ever seen by far.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's a market condition, but we don't forget our burnout landlords, because this inflationary market that we're in, and these market conditions, the note space has a pretty dang good opportunity. So I want to run a commercial for Note Expo. You're going to be there, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And Note Expo is where people that are either in the space or interested in the space are going to come together. Let's run this commercial and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about changes in the market.
Great.
We are at Note Expo.
It's amazing.
Phenomenal.
It's
just fantastic.
It's like recharging my batteries. I get enthused again. I meet a lot of other people in the business. I get a lot of ideas.
Connections. I've made so many friends over the years of high-level investors, high-level business people.
You get out here and see people who are doing things on a level you're not there yet. So that inspires me.
It's been a great event. Lots of good people, lots of opportunities to network, lots of education, and the vendors are great.
Meeting all the people here from all over the country, wanting to know about notes.
And then the networking is just crazy.
All these people has just been stunning.
It's like coming home to a family, and there's a lot of smart people here, and everybody's welcome in. It's always good seeing familiar faces.
I'm sure it's going to empower me and lead to much better growth.
And there really is no other place you can go to figure out what's going on, like in the guts of the industry.
We're already registered, so we have put our money down.
Yeah. And I think, by the way, you guys got to see Lois and Cindy in that commercial there, right?
Yes.
So, we started Note Expo, I believe it's our 11th year.
Wow.
And so we started it after 2008. And of course, at the time, non-performing loans were a really big deal.
Huge.
And, a lot of turmoil in the market. And so people were looking at various ways of creative financing. There were hundreds of thousands of creative finance transactions created because the banks were kind of out of business.
Yes.
And a lot of, millions, no kidding, of non-performing loans were traded in the marketplace. And so it's gone back and forth, and there's always been market conditions, and Note Expo has continued to grow and grow a bigger audience. But I think clearly this year is, as the theme of that commercial is, it's a place to learn what's going on.
Yes.
I think the what's going on this year is going to be as timely maybe as it's ever been, Lois.
Well, I think that one of the things that NoteSchool does is you stay on top of the market. You give us a market update every month. And what you're talking about now is so different than what you were talking about, 2 or 3 years ago. And I appreciate that. Some online schools or something that you join and they're giving you the same formula every single year, and life is not like that. I mean, it isn't. It's constantly in change, and I think the world is changing much faster now than it's ever changed. And so we appreciate the information that we get so that we know how to position ourselves and what we need to be doing.
Well, we feel like it's kind of our industry obligation. I have a Facebook account and I see social media. I see so many hot sports opinions on Facebook when the market's doing this, interest rates are doing this is going to happen. And I've realized that there's no meter on social media for somebody to say, well, the guy that's saying that actually really knows, or the guy that's saying that actually really doesn't know.
Yes.
You hear me say all the time, kind of to our internal troop, when I want to know what rates are going to do, I call one of my buddies that run a hedge fund. I don't go on Facebook. Now, I may say on this show something, and so yeah, that's really theoretically on social media, but it does matter. I wanted to talk a little bit. You've done 3 things in that Note School really teaches. You've done all 3 of those really well. You've sold property and created seller financing.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
You've bought seller financing that somebody else sold a property.
Yes.
Both performing notes.
Yes.
And you've also bought notes that weren't paying.
That is correct.
And so I want to talk about that. How different is that?
The notes that we bought that weren't performing were not really on purpose. So we created our own non-performing notes. And it's very different. I mean, you have to think about different things. I appreciate the book that Mick wrote on how to take care of, a property that's been abandoned or that, people are in, and how to get them out, and the resources in getting, bagged to go and do a BPO on it, or to do the clean out, and just the technical parts. So when you have a performing note, it really is, after you get everything set up, it really is pretty seamless. It just sends you money every month, which I think is just so much fun. But a non-performing note takes more time. And you have to deal with a lot of different things that you haven't dealt with before. And it's different depending on what county you're in and all that. But I think we have the resources. It hasn't been so daunting that we, feel like we're all by ourselves. And that's important.
Well, one of the things that we transitioned over the years in non-performing is helping students as they become engaged with us along the way in some efficiencies that they may not have.
Mm-hmm.
The more they learn, the more we feel like we can help them because their expectations are realistic.
Yes.
And then I think on the performing note side, it's that, you haven't found yourself burning up your weekends out there dealing with a rental.
No, I don't work on weekends. I just don't do that. And not that I really consider notes work, but no, I don't do any of it. I don't get on the computer on the weekend. It's made a huge lifestyle change. And the fact that we can take off and travel a lot more because we don't have to be concerned about the rentals.
I see you on Facebook. I'm not very active on Facebook, right? It's not my thing. I'm on Facebook and we use it for, business. I don't, post all the time and stuff. In fact, sometimes you guys will learn that we've had a birthday or anniversary and stuff, and I don't put it on Facebook. It's nothing wrong with it. I love that people do that.
Yeah.
But it's so cool to see when I see on Facebook and I'll see that you guys are somewhere and have, way off somewhere and you got family and you're hanging out, or you got some experience and seeing something you never seen before. And this is what we do all this for, isn't it? Right, Lois? We don't really do all this to stuff money in a casket, do we?
No, no. We leave 2 days after Note Expo for Greece for a couple weeks. So yeah, and we have 3 major trips planned for next year. So yeah, yes, this is our passion. This is what we love to do. And we travel all over the world. And when Cindy retires in a couple years, then we'll probably go and we'll get a house somewhere, rent it for a month, and travel from there. And yeah, there's so many.
Any particular boundaries that you can't do because of your note business on the side?
Not really. There will probably be areas that don't have as good an internet, but as far as in general, no.
Tell you a couple of funny stories. I want to ask you before we leave here. I want to ask you a kind of another thread of ideas. But we had a student a few years ago. He was in the military and he was in Afghanistan, and he was a pilot, and he flew the refueling planes.
Oh yeah. They
would have 12-hour shifts where they would fly, and the pilots would swap out so they could just keep flying.
Mm-hmm.
And he continued his note business while he was in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And literally not a single person ever knew it.
Yeah.
And the other one is it's crazy when you get in our Note School membership, what we call deal labs, and somebody will come on and you'll realize they're not at home. And they're in an RV park, or they're this, or they're that, and so that really is a cool thing, and that it gives you the freedom to do it. You're not bound to any specific location, and so I want to talk about one more thing. We got my wife Martha and I got to spend some time with you the other day.
Yes,
and you went on a little adventure with us, and you went on a lobby effort.
I know.
Tell us about that.
Oh, it was an amazing experience. So I think you guys have been working on getting this bill passed for 4 years.
Four sessions, 8 years.
8 years. Okay. Yeah. So when the opportunity came up to go to DC and join the lobbying effort, I had no idea what to expect. None. I thought, well, I can go up there and just stand and watch or participate or whatever. And I figured, they said, wear good walking shoes. And I thought, well, I'm in good shape. I can walk. So going up there and seeing how our government works or doesn't work, talking with Democrats and Republicans, meeting in the National Club, going door to door in some of the congressional buildings. It was really amazing hearing some of the different congressmen speaking about what their concerns are, and understanding from you and from Jeff and from Bob what they need to hear, because they don't need to hear all about this. What they need to hear about is, how does it affect their constituents? Why should they, back this bill?
Yeah.
And then going to the fundraising where they had the fajitas and everything, which was great. I ate way too much. But it was a wonderful experience. And then I actually had a tour of the Capitol, kind of a behind the scenes tour. I would encourage anyone who can get there the next time you go to go. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I appreciate the effort you put in to help us out.
Well, you were awesome. You were an awesome contribution, and thank you for that. Seller Finance Coalition. And it's the sellerfinancecoalition.org. And it is a lobby effort that we founded a few years ago to work with lawmakers in making seller financing better and more practical.
Mm-hmm.
And we are looking at strategically making some changes in Dodd-Frank. And I think you could see, Lois, that while it's taken a little while to start this whole thing, mm-hmm. we look like we're right at the point of being able to get this done.
I agree. I think that there's a lot of consensus behind it.
Yeah.
It makes sense to people. They have the details. There isn't anything that makes their hair catch on fire. And so I think that you have a good chance on this. So I'm pleased to have been able to participate a little bit.
Thank you for your contribution. All right, Mr. Joe, I'm going to let you take us home here, my man.
Very good. Well, you let Cindy know that we missed her today, and
I will do that.
but we will certainly see her in just a few weeks.
I know, right? It's getting fat. It's getting close.
So yes, it is coming up, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate what you did. By the way, Eddie, I think we forgot to mention that Cindy and Lois were our investors of the year last year at Note Expo for 2021. Yeah,
2021, right?
2021. Right. So
there's an award for the most money, and then the most amount of money deployed in the business. And you kind of got in the story that they sold some rentals and created notes of some other rentals, and so they created quite inventory of notes, and then they won the NoteSchool Investor of the Year award. So
I know,
and that comes up again, Lois. So we'll see, right?
Absolutely. So
yes.
So guys, thanks so much for tuning in for this week's edition of NoteSchool TV, where again it is our mission, our goal to show you how to close more deals. I think that's what we all want to do, right? And for more information, certainly go to noteschool.com/TV, and to register to go to Note Expo. And we're going to run the commercial one more time as we take it off here, but NoteSchool or NoteExpo.com, NoteExpo.com. And you still have time to register. I think you still have time for the end of the week to get the early bird discount. So you better go ahead and do that. So we'll see you next week on NoteSchool TV at 11:05 Central Time. And enjoy yourself. Watch the commercial, and we'll see you next time. We are at Note Expo.
It's amazing.
Phenomenal.
Just fantastic.
It's like recharging my batteries. I get enthused again. I meet a lot of other people in the business. I get a lot of ideas.
Connections. I've made so many friends over the years of high-level investors, high-level business people.
You get out here and see people who are doing things on a level you're not there yet. So that inspires me.
It's been a great event. Lots of good people, lots of opportunities to network, lots of education, and the vendors are great.
Meeting all the people here from all over the country, wanting to know about notes.
And then the networking is just crazy.
All these people has just been stunning.
It's like coming home to a family. And there's a lot of smart people here, and everybody's welcome in. It's always good seeing familiar faces.
I'm sure it's going to empower me and lead to much better growth.
And there really is no other place you can go to figure out what's going on, like in the guts of the industry.
We're already registered, so we have put our money down.